All right. This is an easy one, but it's something that we're going to have to talk a lot about, apparently, because the discourse has occurred. Now, I'm going to preface all of this with, and that's pretty much the end of the discussion on SA or anything like that, so we really don't have to talk about it that much more. I'll basically say that it isn't that up front. This is in no way even close to sexual assault, and it doesn't. The fact that you brought that up leads me to this conclusion. I think, and I could be totally off base here, but it seems like fucking clockwork. Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example of this. It takes a little bit of time, but every once in a while there's going to be like a little bit of a lull, and then Destiny says something that a bunch of people want to hear, and he makes like a big take so that there's a bunch of swirl. It feels like I feel like this is inconsistent with things he says otherwise, right? And because it feels inconsistent, it feels like he says it knowing it will be inflammatory. So he says it in a way that's intentionally inflammatory. Even if he believes this to some degree, I feel like saying that's tantamount to sexual assault is the part that makes it incredibly, like obviously click, like people will click on that. Now people are going to show up and do his things. Someone's going to challenge him to a debate. You're going to have to watch 2 debates in a panel with Destiny on it. More people are watching his channel, right? Does this sound like that behavior? Because that's what I get out of it. And now, here's the thing. Let's talk about the rest of this. So let's say that it is 100% good faith, and that's genuinely how it feels, which is how I'm going to act about this, okay? Just because I'm sus about it doesn't mean he doesn't actually believe this, and that's, and maybe he does, and maybe he'd be very offended if I implied otherwise, but I think he knows the game, and he is incredibly, he's a good capitalist, and I think he knows that this would get, it gets attention, right? I mean, I just said it, and we have about 50 more people here than usual, right? So, are they DGG? Who knows? So, thanks, Chip, for following. And, it helps. It helps for attention. But beyond that, the conversation in general, Fengororness, thanks, buddy. At no point does you revoking consent mean that the action that caused you to revoke consent was some form of sexual assault to any degree. It doesn't mean that. It can be from that, right? Excuse me. Sorry. Like someone could get rough and you could revoke consent and be like, that was a little too much. And I feel like that was a form of sexual assault. Okay, fine. Sure. But because revoking consent does not cause something to be sexual assault. It doesn't.
Her ramble was just a
It doesn't. That is not what causes it to be so. It is how you feel about it and who crossed a line and what was communicated. Now, someone can, of course, accidentally cross a line, and it's not sexual assault necessarily to, say something that might be like if someone's like, oh yeah, spit in my mouth, and you're just really turned off about that. That doesn't mean it's sexual assault. That just means it's it's something you weren't into and you revoke consent. That's fine. Revocation of consent. So if the scenario here is one that exacerbates trans panic, right? And if you don't know what trans panic is, it's basically the phenomenon, and I'm going to call it a phenomenon but please understand that it is also a disgusting, juvenile, toxic reaction. It's a social phenomenon that occurs in mostly cis men. I can't imagine it would happen with a trans person or a non-binary person. Although one of the people arguing this in my mentions was fucking non-binary. We can talk about that at some point if we want to. Mostly it's the phenomenon of cis men encountering a trans woman, right? And then they share attraction to one another. They go on maybe a date, or they go to hook up with Tinder, or however it manifests, right? They end up at some point, the two of them getting into what you would consider a romantic interaction, leading towards the fucky-wucky, right? And on the way to the fucky-wucky, of course, if the trans woman hasn't had any like bottom surgery or anything, she's likely to have a penis. And the trans panic is man finds out person they were attracted to a second ago has pee-pee, and then they panic, often leading to a violent interaction towards the trans person, which is obviously an unsafe scenario and a thing, if you are in trans spaces at all, that people talk about when they're trans. Whether they're trans women or not, trans men experience this as well. Non-binary people can experience this if there's a perception on their gender that, I go by they, them, but you look like a girl. To the cis man, right? He says, "Oh, but you look like a girl," and turns out you have a pee-pee, right? And then he freaks out. Whatever. This can be a very dangerous situation for trans people. And saying something like, "If you mislead someone," we'll break it down. If you mislead someone relating to sexual organs, and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activity, that's tantamount to the R word. Telling people who are likely to panic in that situation, and an already precarious situation for a trans person, telling a group of people that, yeah, actually you got fucking that's sexual assault, makes it more dangerous for trans people, and also isn't sexual assault in any fashion. Okay? In any fashion. It's actively throwing a water balloon of fuel on a fire that you will never have to be near. It doesn't make any sense, right? So, will using medical terms for genitalia get Jake demonetized? I don't know. It really begs the question. Well, actually, let's do his first. If you mislead someone relating to sexual organs, okay. So, if you are misleading someone relating to sexual organs, and I'll make it bigger on this screen for a second, right? So it says, if you mislead someone relating to sexual organs. Okay. Not telling someone what your sexual organ is not misleading them? It's not misleading them. Now, if I'm talking to someone, right, and we are likely to be sexual, maybe we're just talking sexually, maybe we're texting sexually, maybe we're engaging with the idea of like, oh, maybe we should hook up, stuff like that, flirting or whatever. If there's any communication at all, starting at the beginning of the relationship moving forward, this is something that we, should be teaching, is communication, right? And I'm going to talk about your junk. I'm talking about communication in general. Right? And so if communication and consent is a thing, right, and you give your consent to sexual talks, right, it might come up in that way. Like think about this. What if I was talking to a girl and I was like, I don't know. What's a sext? What's a sext you could say towards someone about their genitals, right? Like, think about it, whatever it might be. Like, I'm gonna make you come so good when I nibble on your vagina. Yes, I'm gonna nibble on your vagina, right? But I feel like the genital would come up, right? Like, oh, I don't know. You guys know how you get when you're fucking horny posting with someone privately. Sometimes you might say the word, or a word that discusses a genital, right? You might use a euphemism for a word or for that thing. Absolutely. It just might come up. Whether it's, I want to gobble your cock, or I want to pet your penis. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are two different things. I'll corm your stalk, right? So if someone says that to you and you're trans, right? It seems pretty obvious that at that point the conversation might come up where, oh, actually, I don't have a vagina, I got a penis. Now, if you're in person, this could be different because it could be dangerous for you. But usually people, they meet, they do the Tinder thing, or they meet over DMs, or it's someone frankly, if you meet over DMs, you probably like each other in general. It's not just a hookup. Like, this only lists for hookup culture, which isn't a thing for most people. That exist in that would also be mad that someone had a pee-pee. Like, I don't get it. So, for instance, And then I don't know. I'm kind of scrambled around here because there's so many things I want to touch on, like your penis. Now that doesn't mean that the trans person in this case, and we're gonna have to talk about trans women specifically in this case. Again, sorry, trans men, you're deleted from another conversation because this isn't really about you, is it? It doesn't usually come up in discussions about trans men. Now it can, and it does affect them, obviously. But this is not the group. The group of people that whine about this aren't worried about trans men, right? They're worried about being gay. It really is that. Is it gay? Now, I had, and I'm not joking, I literally had a non-binary, if you follow me on Twitter, you know this. I had a non-binary person who was part of this community, for the record. Part of this community. And I'm going to say it, critical Canadian. Kicked out of my community. You don't get to come here. You do not get to come here. If you see critical Canadian, know that this NB person, critical Canadian, is not fucking part of my community. You don't get to be, okay? Because it heavily implies, right? It heavily implies that if you have sex with a trans woman and you are straight, say I had sex with a trans woman, if she had a penis or if she had a vagina, doesn't matter. Literally said out loud, well, that obviously makes you not straight. First of all, I don't personally give a shit if I'm straight. What I care about in that conversation is that implies trans women aren't women in this case. It implies trans men aren't men. What are you talking about? It's not it's not gay, dude. I don't know why we have to talk about this still. It's fucking 2016 all over again. It's incredibly dumb. If you have sex with a woman and you're straight, it's irrelevant if she's got a pee-pee, okay? Like, it's irrelevant. Now, I understand why a cis person who's never been part of that conversation might go, well, that sounds gay because I associate, because I am a man, and men are typically very fixated on the physical, right? Insofar as sex is concerned. It's like boobs, ass, asshole, vagina. Well, I guess in this case, he's a pussy, nipples, mouth, right? He's mouth holes, right? So you're like, there's no hole there. It's like, well, there's other holes, first of all. And like, look, I'm not into peepees either, right? And that's fine. But like, I was attracted to you a second ago. I'm not unattracted to you because you have a penis. We're just not sexually compatible. So for the purposes of this, in this scenario, if I'm in that situation, say I'm getting hot and heavy with a hot trans woman, right? She's got a dump truck ass, okay? Looking fine in, I don't know, probably some form of, for me, yoga pants. You know, grabbing the booty, and then you reach around to the front, and there's a bulge. Am I gonna be mad at that person? No, your ass is fantastic. But I am going to, at that point, be like, I should have communicated, and frankly, I would have already communicated this. But let's say it's a few years ago, and I just wouldn't have thought about it, right? We are not sexually compatible. We might be make-out compatible, right? I'll make out with your face. Absolutely. But we're not sexually compatible. Because that's just not how I am. And that's okay, because you get to choose compatibility. If I take my clothes off, right, and I have a weird dick, it's just weird to you. In whatever way that manifests. It could be my normal dick right now. Maybe you think my dick is weird. And you're like, I don't want to put that in my mouth. I don't want to put that in my butt. I don't want to put that in this case, I guess it would be, well, those are the two holes. I don't want a sword fight with you. I don't want to knock it around. It's just a weird dick. You get to not consent anymore. You get to. You can revoke consent. It doesn't mean I did anything wrong, and it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. If you don't want to go through with something, don't do it. The only thing that would be worse than revoking consent in that scenario, if you genuinely weren't into somebody, is fabricating consent, right? Can you think? So it's fucked up. For the record, this is fucked up. Never do this to someone. If you don't want to have sex with somebody, right? And assuming, they're not pressuring you or anything, they're not grooming you, and you're not being forced or anything. It's just like you don't want to have sex with someone, but like you would feel bad if you didn't, right? It's bad to fabricate consent because that's not nice. It's not a fair thing. It's icky and weird, and it's kind of like the reverse of that. It's not like sexual assault, but it's like it's icky enough to where just don't fucking do that, okay? That's fucked up. Anyway, but you can revoke consent at any point. It doesn't make the thing sexual assault. Doesn't make any of that. That would fuck me up if someone gave me a pity fuck because I'm trans. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like for me specifically, because I've talked about this before, but let's talk about it now because it's part of the conversation. For me, as a guy who is, I have a preference for vaginas. I don't have a preference for, like whether or not you're trans, or cis or whatever. I do have a preference towards femininity. And I don't find penises sexually appealing, right? I just can't get down with it. And so I would feel incredibly selfish and a little abusive if I was like, well, you can still do me, right? Like, no, I'm not going to ask for that. It's not going to happen. I don't find that fair, and I find it manipulative, right? Because you can go find somebody that's better than me for sure, and especially someone that's sexually compatible with you. We don't have to be sexually compatible. It's not okay. Thanks for the makeout. You have a nice butt. Move on. You know what I mean? Not a pity fuck, but I pressure myself into going faster in the relationship than I was comfortable with. Yes, absolutely. That's a great example. Now, we do that when we're younger, and it's not really like if you're confused, it's not fucked up, right? It's not fucked up. It's fucked up to do when you're an adult and you've kind of gone through some stuff and you understand, right? Like, and I don't know where you were in your life, so it could have been fucked up. But I've done fucked up stuff before. Nothing like sexual assaulty or anything, but I've like, I've had dirty breakups as a teenager and stuff where it's just like I could have handled that a lot better and taken into account how someone felt and tried to be a little bit more compassionate and stuff and learned a lot from that and have never made the mistake since. You know what I mean? Like, you ever been needlessly mean to somebody when you're just having a bad day and you just never got the, you shouldn't have done that kind of thing. Like I remember a couple situations where I've done that with coworkers or something that were pissing me off or students with me. I just said something mean because, I'm naturally witty and sometimes I can do that. And I've tried not to be just genuinely mean to people anymore, right? And it's fine. I dropped a girl 2 weeks into our relationship and boy, howdy, that was fucking rough. Right, exactly. So it's just like stuff like that. I was in a very bad spot at the time and had been in and out of abusive relationships for a while before. Yeah, so you probably have, it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation, As long as we're learning and moving forward, that's fine. So now let's talk about the next part of this. The next part of this is if you mislead someone relating to sexual organs, okay, we already discussed that's not misleading. It's not a misleading someone just for it to never come up. And they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities. Okay, we talked about that, which is not a big deal. That's tantamount to sexual assault or rape. Okay. Now, I know he said the word tantamount, but is anyone reading it like that? Where he's saying it's not quite that, but it's sort of that. No one's reading it like that, right? Come on. It's not that. It is not sexual assault if someone revokes consent. It isn't. If I have any, like, I don't know, say that this is a great example that I was talking about earlier, and I think someone else on Twitter mentioned it totally after I brought it up, obviously. If, say, for instance, you and I, yes, you, exactly you, whoever you are exactly, irrespective of your sexuality, but just assume you want to pork me, okay? Just assume that you and I have a sexual relationship, or we're about to, right? We've been texting, okay? Yeah, you. Assume, Hair the Hawk, thanks so much for following. And Crimson, thanks so much for the raid, dude. Appreciate that. Cien Lu, thanks for the follow. So you and I have been, we've been in the DMs a little bit, okay? We've been in the DMs a little bit, and it's getting a little
First, I was
sexual.
gonna identify the lesbians.
It's getting a little sexual. My gray ace virgin ass wouldn't have a clue how to sex. Don't worry about it. We're doing it anyway. Okay, it's getting a little sexual, and and we're like, okay, well, let's meet up and hang out. And we both know what hangout means. Hangout means sexual. So we're gonna hang out and sexual together. And we get to that point. We hang out a little bit. Maybe we watch a little. I don't know. What are the kids watching these days? What are the kids watching these days? Roblox YouTube videos. We'll watch some Roblox YouTube videos, and then suddenly we're about to do a sexual. Okay, so we're doing a sexual. Okay. And as is normal, I'm wearing the Cobb suit, and I do a sexy Cobb strip tease, okay? I do a sexy Cobb strip tease. This is a little bit of it. I can't give you all the sauce. It's against TOS. So you're getting the sauce, right? Free of charge. Well, you did take me to Olive Garden. That's okay. Mostly free of charge. Nothing sets the mood better than hearing, oof! Anyway, we're doing the sexuals. I take the Cobb off, revealing under Cobb, and now we're getting serious. If I show you my dick, and we're about to do the sexuals, right? And now my dick, personally, in real life, right now, keep it 100, I'm circumcised, okay? Wasn't my choice. It's how it is. However, because of stigma involved with circumcision, or more likely that and lack thereof, if I, although in my age group it's relatively likely, in younger groups it's even more likely, if I show you my dick and it's not circumcised, meaning I have a foreskin, and you're just not used to that, and you find it off-putting, it is not fucked up for you to revoke consent. It's a little fucked up, but it isn't all the way fucked up, because you don't have to, right? You get to revoke consent because you find something unappealing. Now, it's something innate about me that I didn't choose. It might hurt my feelings a little bit, and that's fine. If you are not comfortable, you get to not consent. Even if it's something I can't control, right? It's my natural ding-ding, right? No, yes, exactly. You don't owe me anything from that, okay? I'm in the red already. You bought me Olive Garden. Breadsticks were delicious. I'm a little garlicky anyway. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, even though it's a little fucked up for you to hold against me something natural about myself, it's not so fucked up that you're the asshole. You don't owe me anything. Our physical interaction is not guaranteed. Furthermore, let's say dick is fine. You're getting over the dick, right? Foreskin, totally fine. Say, I don't know. Say we end up fucking. We're midway through fucking. So 25 seconds in, right? And I'm already vinegar strokes, right? About to finish. But just before it gets to a point where we can't continue, because, I'm going for my best. I'm going for 55 seconds. My top tier performance, okay? I'm pushing through. I'm thinking about baseball, which just makes me harder. Say I'm a bad kisser or something. I don't know. I'm not. But say I am. I'm not. Look. I'm not. Okay? Look at these. Okay? I'm not. But let's just say I am. Let's say I am. Okay? Hypothetically. Totally hypothetically. In a fantasy land that doesn't exist, say I'm a bad kisser. In a reality we're not part of, okay? that isn't this one, in a fake world, say I'm a bad kisser, which isn't the case, but say I am, you can revoke consent. Holy shit. You get to. You get to revoke consent. And that's okay. I have to stop then. I have to stop heaving upon you. Cobb suit's back on, by the way. I poked a hole through it. Cobb suit's back on. I'm like, and I'm just caught. Like, it's not, you're not feeling it, right? You're not feeling it. You could revoke consent. It's fine. You get to. And then I'll go, oof. And I'll have the Roblox deaf sound. But my feeling? Fuck my feelings. Fuck my feelings in that case. Because it doesn't matter. You get to do with your body what you want to do. Now, let's talk about this in the total context of it. This has a heavy implication, okay? That trans people, the language used, I'm going to read this one more time. Quote, if you mislead someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities, that's tantamount to sexual assault or rape. No, it's not. I think you're missing the point. For women, it can be scary to say no in the act or in person right beforehand. That can be dangerous to resist. No, you're missing the point. It's not about that. What? It's not about violence towards people. That's the problem that he's exacerbating. What are you talking about? This is why, this is why I said this earlier. You're missing the point. He's exacerbating the thing that you said, and I said that earlier. You literally missed the point there. If you he's making this situation worse. He's making it exacerbating the danger to women, specifically trans women. He's exacerbating the danger to them for saying no, for revoking consent, or
her ramble was just
right in this case, having to get consent revoked from them because they happen to have a pee-pee. Right? The thickest of boys. Thanks for following. It's making it worse for them because in this case, the man is revoking consent. Right? And that's okay. He gets to revoke consent. It's totally fine. However, it doesn't mean that a trans woman, doesn't mean that a trans person is sneaking their transness. Yes, Destiny said this. It literally is right here. It's right there. Let's make it bigger, I guess. This is not accurate. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. We're just going to stay on that, I think.
Good call, baby bird. Good call.
You fucked me up. Furia. Thanks for always being a good ally. Community is honestly just the best. Hey, I appreciate that. This is fucking wrong. Trans women are not hiding their fucking dicks, right? They just, like, some trans women have them. It's not sexual assault to have parts on your body that I don't find attractive. It is not sexual assault to have body parts that I don't find attractive, even if I thought you might. This is heteronormative. It's fucking cis-normative. This is, the assumption is like that you have a vagina. Why is the assumption you have a vagina? Now, I know what he would say. Well, most women have vaginas. It's irrelevant.
her ramble was just a gorilla.
It's most. It's like being super surprised that your tire blew. Well, most of the time, my tires are not popped. It's like sometimes your tire pops. I say this because my tire popped the other day. Vixie, by the way, thank you so much for the 11 months. Like things occur that are out of the expected result all the time, and it's only going to grow, right? It's only going to grow because that's what happens. It just occurs. I love being pan. I could be for a surprise for all. Yeah, exactly. And so this is a terrible exacerbation of trans panic. It's not helpful. It's a bad take. It's factually incorrect. There's nothing about this that's right. There's nothing about it that's right. I'm trying desperately to find any part of this that I agree with, and I can't. I can't find it. I feel like Destiny's argument could also apply if you didn't explicitly say how long your wang is. A lot of people talked about this. What if he said he has a huge dick and he has a small one? Is that the same? What? I'm assuming in this one, he's talking about what Gulsifer was talking about, which Gulsifer wasn't wrong about, for the record. Gulsifer was 100% right about that. If a guy pressuring a girl, she can just say no, LOL. Why do women feel pressured? Just say no. Even in the heat of the moment, just say no. It's crazy how people throw away all common sense when I'm assuming, I'm going to take away good faith. I don't disagree. I disagree with the second one. Okay, let's talk about the second one. Sorry, I wasn't showing you. Okay, I was just reading this to make sure there wasn't anything that I couldn't show. So the quote is: if a guy is pressuring a girl, she can just say no. LOL. Why do women feel pressured? 4 question marks. Just say no. Even the heat of the moment, just say no. Now I'm assuming, and I'm taking this in good faith. I'm assuming he doesn't mean yes, girls should or women should absolutely not revoke consent. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying it's unsafe, and I think he's saying what Gulsifer was saying, which is 100% true, right? Absolutely, it's dangerous for women, especially trans women, to revoke consent. It can be. Now, we're talking about lefty spaces, though, right? The argument specifically started in lefty spaces. Yeah, and you were right, Gulsifer, 100%. But I think you were missing the plot on the actual argument for a second. But this aspect of the argument, if you were talking about this part, 100% right. If a guy is pressure, like, absolutely can be dangerous, throwing a common sense. But here's the second part. For people who live in the real world who are actually fucking people, you should absolutely be disclosing things like genitals before hooking up with someone, or you are absolutely a piece of shit person. Look. There's a lot of things that go into this. From a pragmatic standpoint, if you are safe, like on the internet and you're about to hook up or something, or you think it's going down that path, I think it absolutely behooves a trans person for their own safety to somehow figure out if that person is not a transphobe, right? And if your genitals come up, it might be a way to do it, sure, from a pragmatic standpoint. But the way this is written is basically saying if a trans person experiences the trauma of going through someone who violently lashes out due to trans panic, it sounds like since they're a piece of shit person, well, who gives a shit? Right?
Her ramble was just a gorilla.
And I don't fucking agree with that. What are you talking about? The Eric Andre reply is so funny. What do you mean? What? Like, pragmatically, sure. But the way this is worded is incredibly, like, fuck you trans people, right? It makes me think, like, it's victim blaming, right? Now, maybe he didn't communicate that correctly, but he's often pretty hyperbolic about this shit and says spicy things, and this is spicy. He calls them a piece of shit person. So, I mean, literally by being inherently trans and then also having a sexual drive, like a sex drive and being sexually active, if they don't say immediately or at any point, I guess, until the fucking is about to begin, that they have a dick, you're a piece of shit person. But the thing is, like, people, and I don't know why this doesn't, How many trans people are in here that have had sex with someone that didn't know going into it that she never that she or he or they like didn't know your genitals going in? Does this happen? DeVale, this is about what we're talking about, so just pay attention, buddy. Just pay attention and stick through the conversation, because we're going to get to that. Bold of you to assume I've had sex. So have any of you is Jake saying trans people don't disclose that because it could risk a hate? No. I'm saying if you're safe, if you're so say you're meeting someone at a bar and you're a trans woman. This is mostly what happens to trans women, because men are toxic. A trans woman is at a bar and you end up hooking up with a guy and going home, and they didn't know what genitals you had until the moment that your pants come off. They find out you still have a penis, and freak out. I'm saying it can be unsafe if that happens, right? But most people, when they have sex, have dialogue with the person they're about to have sex with. Most people don't just fuck, right? Randomly, without having any discourse. It can happen, obviously. You're at a party, you meet someone, and things happen. That can happen, of course, right? But most people, especially trans people, that like as a trans person, if you're getting hit on by cis straight guys, you clearly are probably a person who passes. And just caveat, since I always have to do it, since Chuds sometimes watch, you do not have to pass to be validly trans. No trans medicalism in my fucking, no true scum in my fucking chat. Okay, you're not allowed. But say that person clocked you as a cis woman, right? Which, first of all, is obviously going to be, pretty gender euphoric, obviously. But, like, these people aren't, like, newly trans usually, right? These people understand their trans experience and understand the reaction that some people have, and understand for safety reasons that it's probably not wise to like, surprise, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, that's true too. Also, let's be clear, you don't need bottom surgery either for that. Absolutely. Most trans people, in my experience, and I want to know your experiences, because I'm only a cis guy that has I've only dealt with this from my perspective, not yours. In my experience, just having trans friends or being in the dating scene or whatever, trans people are usually pretty openly trans. There's not very many secret trans people in dating scenes, in my experience. It could be because we're lefty. Again, though, it's very important to understand, Destiny is arguing with lefties, right? Not right-wingers. He's arguing with lefties. Does secret dick happen? No, he's arguing with Destiny or with lefties. Yeah, he's not a lefty, but he's a lib, but yeah. Oh yeah, the trans women with neo vaginas, they have a, otherwise you would never know, right? Unless someone told you. We've talked about that before. This one's specifically secret dick. I've never heard of secret dick actually happening. I've literally never heard of it either, right? Like most trans people that I know, and this could be a problem if we move back the time, but we're talking about this today. It's 4/19/2021. We're talking about this today. Most trans people I know are pretty openly trans for a couple reasons. Number one, they're probably pretty validated about who they are now. If they have lefty spaces and they have a decent enough, if you're making a profile dating site, you're healthy enough to be dating. You decide to take pictures of yourself and put them on the internet and put yourself out there to get into the dating scene. Absolutely. And granted, I've talked to trans women before. I had a trans friend a while back in the infancy of our channel, like the early days. Her name is Stephanie, and she's great. We just sort of lost touch over time. But she was worried about that when she was starting. Well, she wasn't starting transition. She was just going through transition, not where she wanted to be yet, and she was worried about dating and stuff like that. She ended up finding a really great boyfriend, and I think they're still together. But she was worried about that. But she lives on the East Coast in a big city and stuff. But most. I don't know, just most interactions with trans people that I've ever seen in dating scenes, talking about dating or experiencing them while dating, which, you know, admittedly is brief because you know, people snatch me up very quickly, is openly trans, and like the sexual talk usually leads to discussion of genitals in some way. It comes up, pun intended. I just don't think this is like a super honest like way to talk about this. Not gonna lie, every trans woman I've met doesn't do the whole random hookup thing, and they don't go past talking with folks that don't have confirmation aren't transphobe. It's just so dangerous to not. I agree. This is what I'm talking about. It might come up with like prostitution, maybe, like, because that's a much more dangerous, because it's made illegal and criminalized, of course, but if it was legalized and decriminalized, and it'd be fucking fine, really. Or just decriminalized, really, but whatever. Although I would like some regulation, because they can get health care and benefits and minimum wage and stuff like that, but whatever, that's besides the point. Like let's go full cyberpunk with sexuality. I mean, I agree. I personally can't get over ding-dings, but I've talked about this before. I don't care about your gender necessarily. I care how you are as a person, and that will affect my sexual attraction, right? Like, I do require for sexual attraction femininity and aspects of the primary and secondary sexual characteristics that we often associate with cis females. That's what I'm attracted to. Now, do you have to identify as a woman? No. Not a thing that you have to do. If Sarah identified as a man tomorrow and changed nothing about herself, which is unlikely, but just given the hypothetical of how gender works, if her gender expression was very feminine, her gender was mask, she was a man, and she still had a vagina, and she's got titties, and she's got a butt, and she's got a mouth, what that mouth do, and she's got all these aspects about her I find attractive, it's not going to affect how I feel. It's also not going to affect how I assess my sexuality, right? Because it's a combination of gender expression, sex organs, primary and secondary sexual characteristics, personality, their sexuality. Like, it's all a part of it, right? Like, you might say that's a little gay, but like Elliot Page before they came out, absolutely. Elliot Page, right? He identifies as a man. He is now masked to the point where I am no longer attracted to someone I used to be attracted to. But that doesn't mean that because Elliot Page used to be out as a woman, that it doesn't mean that I was gay during that period of time. You know what I mean? Like, just because he's been a man forever and just didn't have a way to, like, maybe couldn't communicate it or wasn't comfortable with it or didn't know, right? It's still we're both valid, right? Like your sexuality is not contingent upon really anybody else but how you feel about it, right? So it's really silly. A little gay? See, I don't like that. I think that's actually a little fucked up. And not for my sake, because I don't really give a shit for me. I'm saying, like, in general, it delegitimizes the womanhood of a person, or it delegitimizes the sexuality of somebody. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, also bear in mind that there are those who can look past the penis and are still interested in having sex. That's fine. Of course, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people that don't give a shit about sex organs as much as, you know, or that wouldn't be a deal breaker. And there's some people who might find it hot, right? And that's definitely a thing. Now, it's, you know, do we want to fetishize people that are feminine with dicks? No, but it happens, and we know it does. We also fetishize men with vaginas. It's a thing. It's okay. As long as we don't go too much. What's Destiny's take on this? Haven't you been here, or did I mistake you? I thought you were talking to me earlier. Am I nuts? Were you just waiting? Wait. Weren't you talking to me just a second ago, or was that somebody else? No, that was Beezus. That's what it was. Never mind. So I'll show his take again. The take is, if you misled someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities, that's tantamount to rape. It's not. It just isn't. It's not the case. This isn't real. This isn't how it works. This is a bad take. Stupid. Is there anything I need to go over with anybody? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone agree with Destiny even slightly here? Is there anybody I need to talk to right now to make understand why this is stupid? Anybody? Because again, this is just really easy. Destiny. I don't want to talk to Destiny right now. I'm so tired, dude. If he wants to talk at some point, I might, because I finally found something that like I could have an actual conversation about. But like not tonight. It wouldn't be tonight or tomorrow. But I would be down. I wouldn't mind. That's fine. I honestly forgot a trans girl I used to date was trans once because her peen wasn't that big a deal. Even went to the store once and almost bought her tampons. You'd be surprised at what you're missing out on, boys. Well, sure, yeah. Can't wait until Destiny account gets banned. Well, yeah, he'll just make another one. It's okay. Don't feed the drama troll. Well, I mean, it's more important that I think... See, I don't think it's a drama troll. I actually think this is genuinely harmful, and I think someone should be talking to him about that, right? So, like, I don't really care about the drama ball in that scenario. The drama's happening without me or with me, right? So, if I can communicate why this is fucking stupid to some people and they don't have trans panic and don't hurt a trans person because I talked to it, or they heard the argument that I made and made a better one later and helped it, even, you know what I'm saying? Like. This is something that needs to be talked about, so I don't mind. I kind of agree with Destiny on this. I need to know why. So not me, I'm reading a comment. I do not. I totally disagree with Destiny. DeVale says, I kind of agree with Destiny on this. I think you're dead fucking wrong. I have a question. He says, as you're engaging, but the flaw in his statement is that people don't just suddenly find themselves with the genitals they didn't expect, right? Talking about a situation that really happened. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's not really a thing in the way that we communicate sex nowadays, right? But even so, we're just going to say that it is happening, right? Right? We should focus on arguing with Destiny fans and making sure they understand they're wrong. Well, that's how you argue with Destiny fans, right? You argue with Destiny himself, which I would be fine with. I don't mind. I'm very confident in this position. It's not even hard to defend. I don't even know how you could have an opposite position to this unless you're a transphobe. So, and I don't think Destiny's usually a transphobe, but he is a little weird about it sometimes. But he's bi, right? I think he's bisexual, but not really biromantic, right? I think he only has relationships with women, but he's bisexual. Am I correct? Just to be, which is weird because he's not non-binary. What? Wait, is Destiny non-binary? Did I miss that? I thought he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he's cis. Trans people are hot. A lot of trans people are hot. Yeah. Meaty, thanks so much for giving one to VM Draco. He came out as NB, still he him. Oh, he did? Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Are we sure? Wait, but uses he him? Don't drag Destiny into bi. I mean, irrespective of bi culture, he is bisexual. You can't, again, like, this is another situation. I don't care how shitty Destiny is. His identity is valid, like, at any point, like, obviously. He's been identifying as non-binary since February. I did not know that, actually. That's actually interesting. I don't watch a lot of his stuff. He claimed that he was after feuding with DM. People are incredulous because the circumstances were very aggressive, but I think he deserves to be respected if he had... Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. All buys are valid. Good. Is he trolling? Meant to put a kappa? Okay, that's fine. Explain the bisexual, biromantic thing. Okay, so bisexuality is I would have sex with, a guy, a girl, whatever. Biromantic would be I would have a relationship with a guy, a girl, whatever. So if you can be bisexual and not biromantic, right? Like you could prefer romantic relationships with one, type of person, whatever that manifests in. I like men, I like NBs, I like women, I like specifically trans boys. I don't know. And not be romantically inclined. In this case, let's just talk about it from a hetero a cis-normative perspective. So it would be, I have relationships sexually with men and women. I only have romantic relationships with women. That's what that is. Or Destiny's pronouns. I believe still he, him. My hottest take is I knew this was coming because Destiny has always treated trans women and femme NBs really shit in comparison to how he's treated cis men. Same with cis women. He's more curt, irritable, and aggressive with them. And then he was making takes about how do we know people are the gender they say they are on a panel not that long ago, interrupting a discussion he was not invited to. Destiny has been skating by this one for a while. I don't know. I don't watch enough of his stuff. Will have sex with your voice, though? Well, thank you. I'm a bi-lesbian. Wait, I'll date you but won't fuck you. Oh, boy. Rip. Trans misogyny is big weed energy. Yeah, it is. So that person, did I need to explain to you why this is wrong, or are you just chilling? You didn't ever explain what your take was, did you? Did I miss it? Yeah, you didn't. So I don't know. Calm down. Just talking to me, bro. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I feel like... Oh, you just finished. Okay, I see. If two people are getting it on, and one is a trans woman and consensually grabs the other hand and puts it down her... Wait. Okay. Consensually grabs her hand and puts it down her pants. And then they find out she just put their hand on her dick. So why is she putting his hand on her dick? Why can't he have done it on his own volition? But that's fine. Because saying that sort of frames it in a weird way, like she did it to him, right? Which isn't the case. They're having consensual relationship. And having never mentioned she has a dick before, that's really shitty. To be clear, though, I don't think this kind of thing is common. How is it shitty? Because it implies, obviously, the assumption that someone is cis, which I understand in general.
Good call, baby bird. Good call.
Insofar as, when we were young, not today. Like, it should come up, right? Like it's just not a real scenario. There's not a trans woman that necessarily would be very, like I just don't think that's a thing. And I understand... Let's just steel man it. I need to understand why you think that's shitty, right? Like, what if you touch a dick? What's wrong with touching a dick? Habitual Dodo, thanks for giving one to Kippy. I appreciate that. Xanadil, thanks for the 7 months. Right, let's just... Secret blowjob. Under that scenario, you can superimpose the same thing even if the woman was cis. The cis woman has a pussy that is weird to the touch in replacement for the penis. Is still... Right, so what if she... Okay, so how about this? What if you put your hands down the cis woman's pants, okay? And she has a really big clitoris. And it just turns you off. Like it feels like a tiny peepee. And that can happen. Some people have big clits. Is that bad? Yes, for real. Some people have bigger clits. You should look up big clits. There are things. What did I tune into? You tuned into discourse about trans panic. So I'm just saying, like if it's not, it's so worried about touching a dick. Maybe you touch a dick once, dude. Like you touched a dick. What's wrong with touching a dick? You were consenting to touch it, and then it's down there, and suddenly it's like not what you expected. Or this is another thing that can happen. What if you touch someone's vagina, right? Cis woman's vagina. You touch her vagina, getting hot and heavy. This is trans panic again. Getting hot and heavy. You stick your finger in, whittle it around. Things are going good. You pull it out, and it's covered in a white substance that you weren't ready for, and it turns you off. This is a thing that some women have, where they have like a thick, sort of frothy white, like what's the word? Discharge. This is a thing. It's not normal, but it doesn't have to be normal. It's not about what's normal. It's about it being a thing that happens. You don't have to fucking be used to it. Yeah. So like it is a thing that happens. Or what if it's particularly extra super wet and it just and that happens too, right? And we're just talking about cis people, no trans people involved in this interaction. And you just go, ooh, yeah, ooh, I don't like it. That's fine. Or what if she touches your weird dick and it's just weird? Like maybe it was like rough. When you have a rough dick, I don't know if rough dicks are things, probably statistically. When you have a weird like shark skin rough dick, and she just doesn't want it, like it's just, and she, not really into that. Or maybe your dick is like, I don't know, covered in goop because you've had a boner all day because you're down bad and your fucking like pre-cum has just like been all over your fucking pants, and so your dick is just a slime sheath, and she doesn't like that. So what's the difference between touching someone's cis body in a way that you didn't expect and something unexpected happens? What if they have a bump on their genital or something, right? Sufficiently graphic, you're welcome. Right? Ew, slime sheath, gross. Not into that. Flex Move, thanks for following. Did I ever say that? Gonna go wash my dick now. I just did today. So every dick in mouth was totally an accident. So I'm just saying, if you just replace the trans person with a cis person and put something down there that you didn't expect, right? What if they just have a really tiny dick? What if they have a huge clit? What if the dick is way too big? What if the dick is, just bent and strange? How is it fucked up for that person to have a weird dick? Now, if they're dirty or they have an infection or, you touch it and there's fucking gonorrhea everywhere, okay, that's not on you, that's on them, and that's actually kind of their fucked up fault, right? That's them fucking up. But just having a weird dick or a dick that someone didn't know that was going to be weird, or having a vagina that was weird to somebody, maybe you didn't even know you had a weird dick or you had a weird vagina. That person can revoke consent and you didn't sexually assault them, because it's not sexual assault to have a weird dick. It's not sexual assault to have a weird vagina. In the same way, it's not sexual assault to have a penis or a vagina when someone expects something different. It just isn't the case. Their expectations are not your reality. It might be, but it doesn't have to be. They're the one with the expectation. If tell you what, how about this? If you're worried that you might encounter someone with a dick and you really don't want to, ask. Just ask. Like, if you're genuinely worried about this, ask. He wants to come on and talk about this? What could I possibly say that would be different than what I've been talking about for the last hour? What could I possibly say at this point that would be different? How do you bring it up in convo? Easy. You want to know? Thank you, Socialist Nail, for following. So, here we go. You are at a bar, okay? We're going to, or not Tinder because you had the chance to text before. You're at a bar. You just met. You shared some drinks, okay?
Her ramble was
Okay?
just a
You're
gorilla.
worried about secret dick. Lilith, thanks for following, okay? You're a person that worries. Am I gay if I touch a penis? What if it's an engorged penis? What if I make out with someone who is trans? Oh, fuck! Does that mean, by the way, guys who think it's gay to make out with a trans woman, then it's not gay to make out with a trans man? That's just facts. That is facts. You should be making out with trans men all the time because it's not gay. Because all we care about is pussies, baby. Okay? That's it. Is it gay to kiss a woman? Exactly. Got him. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You have to admit that you should be able to make out with gay with trans men, dude. It's a huge come on. It's just math, dude. It's just fucking math, dude. So if you're the type of person that thinks it's gay, and that being gay is a bad thing, for the record, it's not. If you think it's gay or fucked up or weird to make out and have sex with a trans woman, okay, that's fine. That's okay. You have to think it's not gay to make out and have sex with trans men. But you should be asking, right? So you're in a bar. The two of you are like, hey, you want to go back to my place? There's an Uber ride on the way home. It might. Why isn't it going to come up? Oh, I'm going to suck on your vagina so much, I'm just going to eat a peach for hours. Right? Like, wouldn't it come up? And then if you're worried about it, go, you do, like, you have one, right? Like, you know. You got a puss. Like, I mean, just literally just have it come up. Like, for me personally, and we'll take this seriously for a second. If I was talking to somebody, this is just how I would do it. If we are getting hot and heavy, all right, attracted to somebody, being like, hey, just before we even got in the car, went home or whatever, no matter how drunk or high I was, okay, I would be like, hey, just so you know, first of all, I don't want you I don't want you to feel like you got to do anything, okay? I want you to know that you can say no to this, okay? I'm thinking about we're having a really good time, and I would love for you to come back to my place with me, right? Would love it. That'd be awesome, right? Because you're already really feeling each other. You're to a point, and you probably got some fucking, chemicals in you that are making you a little braver than usual, right? Because this is the only way this secret dick is going to happen is at a bar. Like, you met in person 2 seconds ago or an hour ago, 2 hours ago, whatever, and you found each other hot and you're going to go somewhere. Like, if you're fucking in the bathroom, do you give a shit that there might be a secret dick for real? I don't know. Is that a thing? But most people don't fuck at the bar. Most people don't fuck at the club. They don't usually like that. Most people don't. Some people do, whatever. But it's not very common, and certainly none of you guys are Chad enough to do that. So, especially if you're worried about secret dick. You're not a Chad. You're probably a loser, right? Even if you're someone that fucks, you're probably a loser. Just bring it up. And for the record, this is the continuation of the conversation. I'd really like to bring you home. Or over to my place or to my hotel, wherever you're at, or I can come to your place, whatever makes you feel safest. But just so you know up front, make sure someone knows if you have an STI. That's super important. Like, if you say, by the way, just so you know, I have herpes. I don't think I do. By the way, I have herpes. I'm not during an outbreak. If that's a deal breaker for you, whatever. That's fine. Totally respectable. Or whatever you got going on. Some of them go away, like, you don't have to disclose it, but if you got something, definitely disclose it. If you want to clip that, that's fine. I think it's funny though, right? We should destigmatize that, and it shouldn't be clickbait, but we'll work on that, chat. Stupid, thanks for following, dude. So disclose STIs up front, obviously. That's super important for consent. You can't consent.
Her ramble was just
FAC enabler, thanks for following. And then after that, I would personally, and this is true, and I don't know why it would be weird, especially in lefty spaces, because I hang out with lefties. If I'm vibing with you, you're probably not wearing a MAGA hat. You probably understand where I'm coming from with this conversation, you know what I'm saying? And if this isn't the space that you live in, handle it your own fucking way, but this is how I would handle it, okay? And I'd be like, okay, really feeling it. I don't have any STIs. If you do, I would like to know. If it's just something minor, it's not a big deal to me, perfectly honest. You can take care of most STIs nowadays. Yeah, I already said I would, Jenny. Not today though. I'm really tired. I might do it later in the week if I still think it's important. I gotta wake up tomorrow, and tomorrow's also 4:20, so I'm gonna be busy. And then after that, basically, the idea is, and just so you know, just so I don't surprise you or anything, I am cis, I am straight, and I'm not sexually attracted to peepees. I'm not sexually attracted to don't stick anything up my butt. We're pretty much good to go, right? If you don't stick anything up my butt or try to, although ask me in the middle, I might change my mind. I'm very malleable in the middle. And then as long as you got a hoo-ha, I'm down. But if you'd have a pee-pee, I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna be very good to you. I will be bad at making you happy in bed. I'd be very bad at it. My heart wouldn't be in it. And there are other people in here that probably would be. So I mean, if you're not into that, I'm sorry. Do you put things in butts? Do I put things in butts? You can. I have. You don't have to. It just depends on who's that. Who likes that? You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't. Hey. If we're in the throes, dude. If we're in the throes.
Her ramble was just a
okay.
gorilla.
Toss it out there. I might be receptive. Okay. But I'm very ticklish. It probably wouldn't work out.